Hi, you're watching Floyd Steinberg's YouTube channel. There has been a request for more Zynthian content, both on the Zynthian forum and on this channel. So in this video, I'll create a full song using only Zynthian, and I'll show you how to add instruments, how to add effects, how to record a guitar, how to create patterns, how to arrange patterns, and how to include audio tracks. And if you think that's interesting, please join me in this video. Here we go. Okay, so this is Zynthian V5. You can see we're on the mixer screen here. This is the first screen you land on when turning on this device. We've also got 4 encoders here for navigating the menus and entering values. There's also a panel of buttons here, which I use to navigate from one screen to another. At the moment, you can see our mixer is empty. There's only the main bus here. The first thing you want to do is to add a new instrument. So press the admin button. You can see we've got some chains we can choose from, and the chain is Zynthian's term for a chain of effects and instruments you put on one channel. So you can, for example, place an instrument there, or you can add an audio track, MIDI track, and special chains, which for example are web servers. I might take a look at that later. But we want to begin by adding drums. So that's an instrument, so move the cursor with the 4th encoder to add instrument chain and then push down the 4th encoder. And now you're on the instrument selection screen, and here you can navigate from one screen to another using the arrow keys. So on the first page there are synthesizers, samplers, pianos, organs, percussion. We're going to use the Linux sampler here, so push down the 4th encoder again. We're going to place it on MIDI channel 1. And now you can choose a sample set, and we're going to use a drum machine. I'm going to create a late 70s, early 80s type of pop song today. So let's use a limb drum because that's very 80s indeed. So we're going to use this one here, limb drum. Right, the sample set is loaded and we can set up our limb drum here. You can change volume, panning, and so on and so on. You can use the arrow keys to navigate this. Here, for example, there are envelopes, portamento, and so on. We're going to leave it as it is and return to the mixer screen. You can see now we have this new channel here on a mixer screen with the Linux sampler and the limb drum. And holding your finger for more than 1 second here will reveal this new menu where you can set up the limb drum's MIDI specifications, and you can add more effects if you want to. You can remove the chain again and other stuff. But for now we're going to return to the mixer screen, and I now want to add a drum sequence or drum pattern. So we're going to use Zynthian's sequencer for that. So press the pad and step button, and this takes us to this screen which is filled with rectangles, and each rectangle is representing one pattern. And you can see in the first column we have 4 patterns for the limb drum, and we're going to edit the first one here. You can move this cursor around with the 3rd and the 4th encoder. We'll place the cursor here and then press the pad and step button again. And now you can see we've got this piano roll, and I'm going to enter the drum pattern by just tapping the screen. You can also record this using a MIDI controller, or you can navigate the cursor and then push down the encoder. But the easiest way to do this is to just tap the screen with your fingers, and that's what I'm going to do. Press the play button to start pattern playback, and I'm going to add a simple 4 to the floor beat. Let's stop playback here. Now obviously I'm only filling half the pattern, so let's push the admin button once again to see what's going on there. We have 8 beats per bar, but only 4 beats in the pattern, so let's increase that to 8. And now we should be able to access the other 4 bars as well, so let's add more. Alright, let's listen. Alright, next I'm going to change the tempo, so this is going to be a very slow tempo, so I'm going to use 85 beats per minute, and you can do that just turning the first encoder here. I'm also going to edit the velocities a bit, so we can move the cursor around here. And if you push down the third encoder, you get a menu where you can scroll through some of the options using the fourth encoder. Turn the fourth encoder right one time, and then you can change velocity by turning the third encoder. So the hi-hat is too loud in my opinion, so let's turn that to 50. Once you're done, push down the fourth encoder. Then we'll continue. Alright, let's listen to this. Nice. Next, let's add a bass. Okay, the bass. It's the same process, so I'm going to make this one a bit shorter. Press the admin button, then add an instrument chain. This time we're going to use Floyd Synth, which is a sound font player. And sound fonts are sample sets you can download from the internet. So press the fourth encoder, then assign this to channel 2. And now we're going to use the fingered bass here, Washburn XB500. This is an acoustic bass, so here is a bass sound on channel 2. I can play it on the piano keyboard here. Now go back to the pad once again, then press the pad button once again to enter the piano roll, and I'll just enter some notes here manually once again. So I'm going to make the first note a little bit longer here. So push down the third encoder and reduce velocity a bit. Then turn the fourth encoder and increase the duration there. Okay, let's listen to this. And you can always switch back to the pad screen and then just trigger the other pattern. Right, let's add a synthesizer pad sound now. Okay, the synth pad, it's the same procedure as before. Press the admin button, then press add instrument chain by pressing encoder 4 here. And we're going to use Zenith Sub-Effects, which is a powerful but yet optimized software synthesizer. And it's on MIDI channel 3, that's okay. And we're going to use one of the pads here, Synth Pad 5. Right, now we can play that on a keyboard. It's velocity reactive. So now we want to go to the sequencer again, so press the pad button. We're going to place our pad on this pad, a rectangle here. So press the pad and step button again to enter the piano roll. I don't want to manually draw this on screen, this is tedious. I'm going to record this live on the keyboard, and I'm going to use a metronome, so press the metronome button here, then turn the metronome on, go back to your pattern, then arm the track by recording, then press play, and here we go. Okay, let's turn off the metronome again, and now we can listen to everything in sequence. We'll start with the drum. Here we go. Now, as you perhaps noticed, I was dragging there on the first chord because it's a bit hard to press record and play the first chord simultaneously. So we're going to quantize manually. So offset is not 65%, but it's going to be 0. Nice. Okay. It's the same here. And the same here. Whoops. Okay. Right. So we've recorded our pads. And next I'll add an external audio track containing the vocals. Oh, by the way, if you like content like this, and if you want to see more of this in the future on this channel, please consider subscribing. YouTube once again has changed its algorithm in the beginning of the year, and since then it's been a little bit harder. So I'm pushing out a video every Sunday. But I've heard from my viewers that they are never notified of new videos, regardless if they're subscribed or not. But yeah, seeing those view numbers and subscriber numbers grow makes me happy and keeps me motivated to push out new videos every Sunday. And if you think that's a good thing and you want more of that in your life, then you can help me by watching these videos to the end, not skipping any parts, posting them on social media, leaving a comment, push the like or dislike button, or any interaction with this video basically. Thanks a lot. Okay, let's add a vocal track. Same procedure as always, press the admin button and then let's add an instrument chain, and we're going to add a synth sampler here. So that's on the sampler page, the bottommost entry, and it's on channel 4, that's okay. And now you can see I've inserted a USB stick here and my vocal track is on that as a WAV file. So let's press the 4th encoder and load that. And now we can preview this by turning this encoder here.
Paper ship braving the waves.
Yeah, that's nice, but I also want to add some more effects like delay and reverb. So let's go back to the mixer screen, hold down our finger here, and then let's add a post-fader audio effect. And I want to browse this with left and right keys here, and we're searching for delay. I want to use the stereo delay here, so let's use that. We can scroll through the options here with the arrow down key, and once we get here, we can set up the stereo echo. Let's one moment, let's play back this.
In the pouring rain.
Now let's adjust.
Setting out to shores unknown. The old man who could need a hand. I have to thank you for enabling.
Okay, I'm okay with this delay. So let's go back to our sequencer. And now we want to edit the sequence of this vocal track here. So press the pad button again, go to the note screen. Let's insert a note here, and then we want to check how long our pattern is, because we want this sample to just run on forever and ever. And this is not long enough, so let's increase the number of steps here to something reasonable, like this. Then go back here, and now we're going to change the duration of this note to the absolute maximum here. Now we can just start playback here and listen to all of this together. So I'm starting with a drum. And now let's just start these three patterns simultaneously.
Paper ship braving the waves in the pouring rain.
We can change the mix.
Setting out to shores unknown. In the slipstream of the train.
Okay, not bad. Now let's add a guitar. Okay, let's add a guitar. So you can see I've plugged my guitar in here. And my guitar has a built-in preamp, so you might want to add a pedal or preamp to your guitar setup before going into the microphone input here. And what I'm going to do now is to add an audio track. So let's press the admin button, and now we want to add an audio chain. Let's add a chorus first. So on the modulation page there should be the multi-chorus here. We will add another effect. I'll use the stereo delay once again. Let's add another effect. Let's add reverb in series, and we use the big effects plate, and we'll adjust that later. Okay, now I can turn on this guitar, and then we will first monitor and optimize our guitar sound. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is to set up our audio input. So hold down your finger here and then press audio in, and now we're going to turn off the second audio input, which is used here. So we're having a mono input for the guitar. Now it's centered, and now we want to do something about the levels. I might want to add a compressor here, so let's do that. Add another post-fader audio effect. Let's see if we can find a compressor. So distortion dynamics. Let's use the first one here in series. Now we want to move that one up into the chain. So go back here, hold down your finger here, then press this, and now move up chain. Yeah, that's better, and now let's change the reverb here. This is a little bit too big. Alright, let's try that. I'm going to the sequencer now, and I'm starting playback.
Paper ship braving the wave in the pouring rain, setting out to shores on.
Okay, after I've recorded the guitar, I can now remove this track here, and then I'll add another synth sampler on channel 5, and then I can use the capture folder here where my guitar recording is stored. Here it is. And now it's the same procedure as before. So we're going here, and then we can use this slot here to just enter a note here, and then increase the duration, and so on and so on. And yeah, now our guitar track should sit in the mix. Finally, the arranger. We've created a lot of nice patterns here, and now we want to arrange them in a certain order to create a song. This is possible in Zynthian with limitations, and I'll talk about that later. And I had to create a new project for this in order to show you this in the proper way, and why I'll tell you in a minute. So now we have 4 patterns here: A minor, F major, G major, E minor, and the Lindrum pattern. And of course you can just trigger your patterns here. But when you create a song, you don't want to play that live all the time. You just want Zynthian to line up these patterns into a sequence, okay? Press the admin button and then press arranger, and now you're presented with this screen. You can see our chord patterns here. And what you can do now is to move the cursor around. This is a timeline, so here's your song in the timeline. Let's move our cursor here. We can place the cursor in one of these columns. You can see this number down here. This is referring to the pattern number you're working with at the moment. The chord sequence is labeled pattern 5 to pattern 8. So it's beginning with pattern 5. We want to continue with pattern number 6. Let's change the number here. So this reads 6, and now we can just press this. Move to the next column, increase this by 1 to 7, then increase it to 8. And now we've created a chord sequence. Remember, this is a timeline: 5, 6, 7, 8. And what happens now is, if you go back to the pad screen and start the drum track and then start the A minor pad, it will play this whole column here in sequence. Here is a demonstration of that. This is nice. In that way you can just arrange complete songs, but I have the feeling that the arranger part needs some work. I'll show you why. I will load the project I worked on previously. You can see the problem here. I've used super long sequences. They are 64 steps long. It's very hard to navigate this, and often this screen starts flickering erratically, so it's almost impossible to work with. Let's wait until the next release of Zynthian called Vangelis is released, and I think it's going to be better. And talking about it's going to be better, since I last talked about Zynthian on this channel, so many things have been improved and so many things have been added. For example, you can now zoom into the screen. There is swing available in the sequencer now. A lot of progress has been made, but also a lot of progress has to be made still to compete with products like the MPC-1, for example. Yeah, and that concludes my video for today. I hope you found this interesting and helpful. Of course, I didn't show you a lot of things that you might have been wondering about. So I didn't show you how to create MIDI instruments here, but if you followed this tutorial, you've probably seen you can add MIDI chains here into the mixer. I didn't show you how to record control data, but let me tell you, it's very easy. Just twist your controllers while recording a sequence. There are a lot of things you can do here, really. So if you have any questions, please post them in the comments under this video and I'll try to answer them, and if there's a really good question, I will probably turn that into a new video.
Paper ship braving the waves in the pouring rain, setting out to shores unknown in the slipstream of the train. Young man with a black beret, passing time at the newspaper stand, with eyes kept low, ignoring the old man who could need a hand. I have to thank you for enabling me, noticing such minute details, predicting the trajectory while the untold story unveils. And I can see so clearly now the role I've been assigned. The scene is set, the threads laid out, the facts can't be denied.
Yeah, and that's it for today. Creating a song on Zynthian. And though a lot of work has been done since I made the last video, there's still a lot of work left to do on the sequencer. So if you want to be informed when something new happens with the Zynthian, subscribe to my channel. As always, thanks for watching and see you again very, very soon. Bye bye!